Here's where it all goes sideways. After I back this tractor up with this riding lawnmower, watch what the Farmall M starts doing here. You'll see it in just a second. I just drive right straight down the tailgate. Come on, Jerry, back this thing up. Oh, did you see it? There it goes. I don't notice that right away. It causes some problems. Upcoming strong language alert. If you're sensitive to those kind of words, you might want to turn down the volume now. It's just the guy being out in the woods, having a problem, and gets a little excited. Oh shit! The Farmall started rolling forward. Fortunately, it ran into the John Deere. But in the meantime, I took off after it. In my first step, I blew out my calf muscle pretty bad. So I had to climb up on top of the Farmall hurting, get it started, and drive it off the John Deere before it gets damaged. I can't walk. This is me just having a conversation with myself. Sorry about this, guys. But I find it kind of comical. At this point, I had no idea I was still recording. I completely forgot about it. So I just left this video in there so I can watch myself limp around and anybody else who wants to see it. It's only a few seconds long. Well, that's special. I just drove the tractor out here, the vintage Farmall 1942 Farmall M, and my 1984 John Deere 265 that my mom bought brand new in 1984 for $6,000, still runs. I have it parked on top of the hill there. My tractor started rolling down the hill, so I tried to run and grab it. Thankfully, it ran into the John Deere. I just blew out an Achilles. I don't know if it's my calf muscle to my Achilles. I can't... It's always something. So, I'm going to finish this up. I planned on doing the hill and cutting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I literally, I can't put any weight on it. But, hey, show must go on, so let's get this done. Damn it. That'll be a big black and blue mark. That'll set me back a week or two. All right, let's get this mowed. This place is a mess, as you can see. It's loosening up a little bit. All right. Got her done up here. We got to go down to the river. This really isn't a good idea taking this John Deere down this hill, but the other trail I have has a few logs across it. So this is pretty steep, and I don't know if I've ever taken the tractor down this. We use it for the quads, but I'm gonna mow it as we go, but it gets real steep right here. And I pick up some pretty good speed. Don't put your foot on the clutch, Jerry. Don't put your foot on the clutch. Whoa, and I didn't. Yeah, a little spooky, but fun. This John Deere, its entire life has been used like a brush hog. Down here, there's thick brush. There's a few sticks here and there, but this thing just keeps going. Occasionally, I'll knock off a belt. This is the before, looking at the Bigelow. It was pretty thick down here. And this is after. I hope you join me in the next few minutes while I talk about the old Farmall tractor, the John Deere tractor, and various topics. Just a little sit and talk. This pollen is literally like cotton balls. There's so much of it. What a mess it was out here. Some of that grass is 3 to 4 foot tall. The ferns were taller than me. So it's done though. That's the first cutting of the year. Usually I gotta do that 2 or 3 times a year. It doesn't grow that fast once you cut it once. But I suspect I might have a tick or two. But boy, did I blow out my lower calf and Achilles. I'm gonna look at it. It was all bunched up right after it happened. I can't, oh boy. It's going to turn black and blue, I'm sure. Ooh, tender to the touch. Yeah, just another pulled muscle in my life. It's right at, it's right there. Right at the top of the Achilles, but we'll survive. Not the first time I've done it. But this cabin is one of my favorite spots. We built this 20 years ago, this cabin, overlooking the Bigelow Creek. You saw the video going of it up there. It's more of a little hunting cabin. It's 8 by 16. I got this little deck on it. We have a slider. But it's a nice little relaxing place. The river is just beautiful. There's not too many people around here. The closest neighbor is a quarter mile that way. Then after that, it's about 5 miles to the next road. He has, actually, that guy, he's got to swing in on a vine. I don't know how he even gets in. Well, he's got to come down the seasonal road through an easement through a campground about 4 miles from here. Anyhow, we're done. It's the weekend after Memorial Day. So hopefully everybody had a good weekend. We did have plans for dinner tonight, but I don't think now that I hurt my leg, I'm going to go out. Don't feel like limping around restaurants and nightclubs. We don't nightclub, but you know what I mean. My wife and I are going to go out to dinner tonight. We still may. Just see how it feels. I get some ibuprofen in me, so. All right, guys. So what I used today, got out here with the Farmall M. Built in 1942, that Farmall M. I bought it in 1991, so 33 years ago. I was a young man. I put a 3-point hitch on it, a Saginaw 3-point, one of the better 3-points you can buy for that thing, and that really made it a useful tractor. I put implements on it now. Only thing it doesn't have a live PTO. I did rebuild the motor back, must have been 2005 or 6. Maybe a little late, 2008 maybe. So we did that. Put new tires on it. I've given it a paint job or two over the years, but it stays outside for the most part, like all those old Farmalls did, those old vintage tractors. You wouldn't be able to do that with my Mahindra. And then I loaded up my 1984 John Deere 265 riding lawnmower. Funny story about that lawnmower. I used to mow the lawn at our house by hand, push it by hand, once I got strong enough. Prior to that, our neighbor occasionally would come down and do it, but we had 3 acres of an old, the house was built in basically a hayfield, so a lot of alfalfa, clover, just hay, stuff like that. 3 acres of it rolling. And once I got of age, that was my job. 3 days to do the front, 3 days to do the back, pushing it with a little 20-inch deck mower. And by the end of the 6th day, I was ready to start over. So as soon as I went to college in 1984, my mom bought that. We found the receipt after they passed. Both of my parents passed in 2021, 5 days apart from each other. Unrelated illnesses even, actually. Interesting story there too, but we'll go on that another time. But we found the receipt, and she bought it in South Lyon, where I grew up, South Lyon, Michigan. The John Deere shop there. $5,000. I wish I can't find it. It's in my house somewhere. $5,985, I believe it was. Can you imagine paying $6,000 today for a little riding lawnmower with a 22 horsepower motor in it? But that frame is not like the frames of today's mowers. That's a heavy duty frame. Really nothing. You see how it starts. So, vintage tractor brought out a vintage lawnmower. It's neat. You know, you've heard me say it before. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. I like the old vintage stuff, and I like to be able to still use the vintage stuff. I don't know if it's something that brings me back to my childhood days, the old gear. But I just enjoy it. I love getting on that Farmall. Boy, do you sit a long ways up there. Boy, the pollen's tough in my eyes. Yeah, you're up a long ways. So on my trails, I have them cleaned up pretty high, so I'm not getting taken out by all the branches. However, there's a lot of gypsy moths right now. They're caterpillars that come from the trees that, well, they don't come from trees. They come from moths. But they eat all the leaves off our trees. And a couple of years ago, you may have seen that video last week or the week before, completely decimated our forest. And we're still having problems with lots of trees that are still dying daily, literally daily out here. Hundreds of trees on this 40-acre parcel right here that have died from the result of those gypsy moths. The gypsy moths don't kill them per se, but what they do is they weaken them to a state that they just can't get enough energy, and then they succumb to other diseases, oak wilt for one, and that's starting to go through here, it looks like. So I suspect in a few years we won't have too many red and black oaks left. But today's the day for the vintage. You guys take care. We'll see you out here at the river next time. Maybe even in a lumberyard, log yard, forest. I'm looking at the Bigelow Creek. That's where I get my name for my channel, Bigelow. That's not my last name. A lot of you think it is, but it's not. Bigelow is the creek. I think Bigelows were some of the first people in the area back in the 1800s. 150 years ago. This place was settled and logged. Okay, guys, take care.